Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live telecast of the RRTV Super Series. As you can see, the server is just coming up now and we're going to be in the action for the last chance qualifier very, very shortly. But while we're waiting for that to come up, your commentary team tonight is myself and Brock Caday again. Welcome Brock, and the results are already in and it's looking good tonight.
Yeah, hi Bernie, it's good to be back again, and always good to watch these Rallycross guys go at it. So yeah, we've already got our qualifying results in for the night, and our semi-finals are all set. So as you said, we've got our last chance qualifier coming up now in this server. They're just doing a little bit of practice out on circuit at the moment, and then we'll get them racing for an 8-lap race.
Yeah, so your field tonight, folks, for this last chance qualifiers: Daniel Gow 3, Lachlan Smith, Kyle Stevens, Weston Newell, Warren Pickering, Clifford Chapman, Corey J. Ott, Guy Leach, Richard Brookfield and Simon Thomas. Now from that, the top four will go in to the semi-final Heat 1 and semi-final Heat 2. But unfortunately, we've already said goodnight to Sean O'Hara, Gary Hamilton, Trent Gosley, Craig Dunn, George Fullerton, Mark T. Lee, James Robbie, Glenn Postlethwaite and Brenton Hobson. They all did not get through.
Yeah, so it's the way it works, unfortunately, with Rallycross, and there's always going to be eliminations. And as we're going to see in this last chance qualifier, only it's the top four are going to make it through to our two semi-final heats tonight. So it's all about elimination, and it's all about driving your hardest and make it to the end of the race in relatively in one piece to try and progress to that next stage of the night, Bernie.
Yeah, and the drivers should be fairly comfortable with this circuit, shouldn't they? Because round one we went to Daytona short. Tonight, Daytona long. As you're saying before we went on air, it's really only a little bit different towards the end, where they looks like they've got a hairpin there, which, well, you tell the viewers.
Yeah, so it's there's Daytona short, as we saw in round one, and now here in round three we've got the Daytona long circuit, which just basically adds a few more corners onto the end of the circuit and a few more dirt to concrete transitions. So adds, I guess you could say it adds a bit more of a challenge in there. But from basically the last corner through to the jump, it's fairly similar to the short circuit. It's after that jump in the left-hander where the drivers sort of get hit with something new. And perhaps even have to play around with their setups and their driving style to actually wrap their head around the competition there.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that, but I don't think it's going to throw up too much of a curveball, and we'll see how they go, especially as we can see here, Lachlan Smith hitting the jump. We did see round one a car landing awkwardly there, breaking their steering. Also saw last round a few guys having a bit of trouble there at Phoenix as well. So we'll see how they cope with that tonight.
Yeah, well, it's all about nailing. Every corner is different in the way you take it. You know, you've got your tarmac corners, which you just take like your regular race, but then you've got those ones where you've got your transition from dirt to tarmac to dirt, and it's just, you've really got to concentrate to get it right. And like you said about the jump, if you accelerate a little bit too hard as you're hitting the jump, your car will tip forward. If you drift out a little bit, your car will end up sideways. So there are so many ways it can go wrong, but only one or two ways it can go right. And that's the challenge for the drivers tonight, is to try and make sure they do it the one or two ways that'll get them to do it right, and they'll make it through.
Yeah, and pretty much you cannot afford to get caught up in any accidents here or make any mistakes, because if you do, your race is pretty much done. We saw that last week, didn't we? Healy and Jones were going at it. They looked very good for the finals, but unfortunately they got caught up in a few accidents there, and the final sort of fell flat, really, didn't it?
Yeah, last week was a bit of a fizzler, really. There was a lot of potential, but like you said, there was just a bit of contact here and there, and Jones got involved in an incident that wasn't her fault. She just came along and unfortunately got taken out there. So she's back again tonight. She's qualified in third and will be in our first semi-final. So she's come back for more, and obviously wants some retribution for last week and how she got taken out.
Yeah, and I had a wish to luck quickly before the race, and she was saying she's done more practice since then. So she was fast last week. We'll see how she goes tonight. Qualified third fastest, but let's have a look at how the drivers are looking at the moment. So Daniel Gow 3 is the fastest in practice with 41.863. Warren Pickering second fastest, 41.947. He qualified around about fourth on the grid. Guy Leach third fastest. Gory J. Ott is the fourth fastest. We've got three guys in the 41s, and most of the others are in the 42, so it does bode for a very, very close last chance qualifier.
Yeah, and that's what we always find, isn't it, Bernie? That these guys, there's not much between them, and you notice them racing, and it's really you notice the fine differences in their driving styles that make them faster on dirt compared to faster on tarmac. We actually noticed that with Bob King. At round one, was that on the dirt he was so much faster, but on tarmac he lost a bit to the guys in front of him. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out tonight with the times being so close.
Yeah, it certainly will be, and I tell you what, with Rallycross you have to be able to master both dirt and tarmac, and we'll see how much better the guys are. This is a third round, of course, so Rallycross is very new to iRacing, but I'd expect as this series goes on, the racing quality should go up. As we can see at the moment, Clifford Chapman out there getting his hands full in a bit of a skirmish with a couple of VWs.
Yes, yeah, I'm watching that myself actually. There's a little bit of battling going on out there, some good practice, and I also noticed a lot of tyre barriers are going flying, so hopefully we don't see that during the race. But we mentioned last week at Phoenix it seemed a real issue that the tyre barriers getting hit and pushed off their perch and onto the track was quite a problem for the drivers. So perhaps this week another issue that'll pop up for them.
Yeah, so let's have a look at our grid tonight, and I'll just make sure I've got this up. So the grid looks like first row we've got Daniel Gow 3, starting with Lachlan Smith and Kyle Stevens. Second row tonight in fourth, Weston Newell, Warren Pickering and Clifford Chapman. Looking at the third row, we'll have Corey Ott, Guy Leach, Richard Brookfield and Simon Thomas. He'll start at the back of the field.
Yep, so they're all just lining up now, and I think the revs are rising. It's in the starters' orders' hands, and I think we're about to go green here. The guys will be anxious. They're waiting to go, and the green flag's just dropped. Yeah, right now, they've all gotten away fairly cleanly by the looks of it. We'll see how they go coming into this hairpin, and there's already been contact. Somebody's, I think it was Pickering, just absolutely locked the brakes and came in there, Bernie.
Yeah, one of the VWs already in the background there got served big time. No one used their joker. Of course, they've got 4 jokers to use tonight. But let's have a look on the race standings so far. We've got Weston Newell leading. He's just been passed there by Daniel Gow as they go too wide. Warren Pickering now up to second. Lachlan Smith. Kyle Stevens rounding out. Your fifth is Richard Brookfield, but it's fighting and positions are changing all the time. Very ragged here.
Yeah, Gow had a massive moment there coming onto that straight. There's actually quite the battle pack that's evolving here for the top 4. And as we know, the top 4 is basically where you've got to be. So these guys currently are fighting hard for basically bragging rights at the moment, and also trying to get the better position in the semi-finals they get into. Looks like the rest of the field it's come through fairly okay. We've got Guy Leach stopped in the background, so he may have had an incident, unfortunately, Bernie.
Yeah, one of the VWs got served in the first corner, and that may have been Guy. I'm just having a look. Kyle Stevens, was it? No, it was not. Richard Brookfield has just used his joker last lap, and that's brought him up to 5th position. But at the moment, we can see Daniel Gow. Now Warren Pickering, who's that using it? Daniel Gow. Warren Pickering's used his joker there. He's jumped up to 1st position. Gow 2nd, 3rd Smith, and then 4th is Kyle Stevens. He's right on the bubble, and Brookfield is right behind him, as we can see another VW in the background there cutting through the infield.
Yeah, so these guys, the joker lap, we always say it throws a bit of strategy in there. Now, what Warren's going to want to do is he's basically pedal to the metal and get away from Daniel. Did you say that Daniel had used his Joker lap, Bernie?
No, he has not. Warren used it. He's jumped up to first. See if what Daniel's going to do. No, he's hanging on to his Joker, but we'll see as we go to the wide shot if any of the other guys have chosen to use it. No, they have not. So they're being very cautious, aren't they, on who's going to be using the Joker and when. But at the moment, Warren's got one left. The others have two. So he's really going to have to get a shake along if he's going to win this race, because they gain around about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's actually in this race they've only got the one Joker. That's what it's saying in iRacing official anyway. So Warren has used his one Joker lap for the race essentially. So now he's actually pulling a bit of a gap to Daniel Gow. But the question is, will it be enough to stop Gow from using his Joker lap and basically undercutting him and getting back into that first place? As we've got Kyle Stevens. No, it was Lachlan Smith used his Joker lap there, Bernie.
Yeah, and Kyle Stevens followed him through using a Joker as well, and that's allowed Lachlan to get up to third, almost got to second there. And I tell you what, Daniel Gow bogs down, and he had a very good view of that VW right behind him.
Yeah, that was very close to one car being turned around with a very angry driver inside, but I've got to give it to Smith. He controlled the car beautifully and made sure that he didn't go any further and tip Gow around. And like you said, Gow just had a bit of a moment and couldn't quite get it off the corner, and Smith did well to sort of work with his surroundings and not cause an accident there.
Yeah, we can see down Simon Thompson, Thomas Coriot, they're also having a bit of a battle here, both not using their Jokers either. Clifford Chapman having a lonesome race. We saw him, he got served in turn one. The guys that are in trouble, Guy Leach did not complete a lap, nor did Weston Newell. But up front, it's all Warren Pickering at the moment. He's got 1.5 second gap over Gow. We've got 3 laps remaining here, folks, and we've got Smith in third, fighting for Stevens fourth. Now, both of those guys are through, but they're going to have to watch out for Brookfield.
Yeah, we saw last week Brookfield actually had quite a bit of speed and used the last chance qualifier to get up into, I think he ended up getting to the final, Bernie. So it shows you what making it through the last chance qualifier can do. It can turn your whole night around. So if Brookfield can get up on the back of them, he may well have a chance. He's still got about a lap and a half here, and as we know, anything can happen in Rallycross.
Oh, definitely. And at the moment, Stevens is trying to close down Smith, as well as Gow is trying to close down Pickering. And 2 laps remaining here. They're running out of time to use that second Joker. And as they come through now, we'll see if they're going to use it. Maybe they're going to hold on to it to the last lap. First 2, they don't use it. What about third and fourth? They do not go through either, nor does Brookfield. So maybe they think they've only got one Joker here tonight.
Well, in the actual server, the iRacing text basically says it's an 8-lap race with only one Joker, so perhaps this last chance qualifier is only using the one Joker tonight, Bernie.
It definitely must be that. We're normally used to a 10-lapper with 2 Jokers, but we're last lap now, so it looks like Pickering's going to take this win, doesn't it? He's got Gow right behind him as he's coming down now. Then Smith and Kyle Stevens, they're fighting. Brookfield wants these guys to tangle, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that. So looks like Kyle Smith's going to hang on to 4th position, and Brookfield is just going to miss out.
And we just saw then Gow actually took his Joker lap and just snuck in front of Warren Pickering on the very last lap coming through the last corner. So he's actually nabbed that win tonight, Bernie, which is going to put him in basically second last in the first semi-final heats tonight. Yeah,
so he held that to the last minute, didn't he? We were saying Pickering had to get that gap. He got it up to about 1.6 seconds. It wasn't enough, but it doesn't matter. This is all about progressing through the night. So let's have a look at our full race results here, folks, and we'll see where your favourite driver finished. So it's rather interesting here. Kyle Stevens, I think, got caught out big time, and that is because they start at a different spot to where they finish. He actually backed out at the hairpin, and it looks like Brookfield knew about that and took him on the line. So the results are Gow in first, Pickering second, Lachlan Smith, he's in third. Richard Brookfield will promote himself into the next, he'll be back in Heat 2. Kyle Stevens misses out, Corey Ott misses out. We say goodnight to Clifford Chapman, Simon Thomas, Guy Leach and Weston Newell.
Yeah, so congratulations to those guys. Richard was just a little bit wiser and managed to slip through and take that fourth place and just sneak into the semi-finals. So he's gotten himself a berth there and may well push himself into the final depending on his performance in his semi-final heat. So a bit of an action-packed one there with a bit of strategy woven in there too, with Daniel Gow keeping his joker lap right until the last second and sort of catching Warren Pickering off guard, and he managed to just stick with him during the race, which is all he needed to do. And now we've got our 4 drivers to join the other drivers in the semi-finals, Bernie.
That's right, and if we have a look at those results here, while we wait for the admins to bring up the other server, and we'll go to a break very shortly, but if we have a look at these race results, so the next heat we've got will be semi-final heat 1, and that's going to be made up of Bob King, Emily Jones, Dan Piera, I think it is, Luca Giacomin, Thomas Hins, Darren McKenzie, Wayne Burke, Gavin Sadler. We should see going through to that will be the first and third finishers. So Lachlan Smith will go through to this heat, and the other one will be, drum roll please, do you know who that is?
That'll be Daniel Gow in that semi-heat 1.
Yes. Yes,
and
that's right.
Yep, perfect.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds good. So that's what we'll be waiting for next, folks. So basically, if you're new to Rallycross, it's one massive dropout knockout round, really. Pressure goes up. We just said goodnight to 2/3 of that field, and now we'll go racing again to see who will get into the final. Now, from what I understand, we're going to have a field of 10 and 5 out of each heat. The top 5 will go through to the final.
Yep, that's it. And will be interesting to see who has the speed and who uses their jokers when and everything. It's always interesting. I love the strategy behind it, even though it's such a quick sprint of a race. You have to still keep an eye out for those joker laps, because if somebody has one just still up their sleeve, they'll sneak in there and do much like Daniel Gow did, go right under Warren Pickering, take the major inside line, and he'll grab that win. So something to watch out for. Jones has been fast in her Rallycross, as I mentioned last week, and we saw that last week when she was up against Healy, and Bob King was very strong at Daytona in round 1. So he's obviously qualified first, which has given him first spot in that semi-heat 1. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes, and how he goes against a few strong people as well. Luca Giacomin is quite strong as well in his Rallycross, Bernie.
Yeah, and if you want to see Emily Jones in action, she looks very, very nervous as we jump across now to her Twitch stream. And look at that. She's kicking the heels up, watching the ice hockey while she waits for the next heat to start. But you can find her at twitch.tv/EMREE and put her up and watch our broadcast, and you can watch her in the office as well.
Yeah, it's awesome that so many of our sim racers in the community stream and show their perspective. So we're not only streaming the whole race, but they're streaming what they're seeing. And Emily doesn't only do Rallycross; she does some GT. She does quite a few streams here and there, and also does V8 Scops throughout the year. So she's got quite a broad array of cars that she races, and she streams quite a bit as well, and has a major fan base underneath her as well. So.
Oh, yeah. Like last time, I think she hit over 500 views. So a bigger fan base than we've got here on RRTV. But how are we looking for that server? Is it starting to come up yet?
No server yet, Bernie. I'm doing the old Control-R trick to see if they put it up yet, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, so as far as what's coming up on RRTV, we're starting to pick up pace again. I go back to work again Thursday. I've actually taken an extra day off, meant to go back tomorrow, but decided another day's better spent sleeping, or actually I'm going to the dentist. But anyway, looking at what's coming on to RRTV, we've got the NASCAR coming your way. We've just settled the agreement the other night, so we'll have the Thursday Night Thunder coming back, and then we've got the NASCAR Cup Series, which is going to be a monthly event, and it's going to run all year, and that will be starting with the Daytona 500 in February, from what I understand, and as far as I understand, they'll be following the NASCAR schedule as closely as they can. So that's coming your way. We've also got the Australian Online Supercar Series coming your way, and that will be supported by the Porsche Carrera Cup Series. So Friday nights we'll be running the Porsches first, and then you'll be getting the V8 supercars after that. So that's going to be a great addition to Friday nights. And of course the Skippies will be back. We've got the Monday Night Lights, and whether we come back this season, they'll definitely be back in season 2. And we've also got the Australasian Super Skips coming back to finish their season. So quite a good lineup on RRTV for all your viewing pleasure, and that's my ad.
I think you've done very well there, Bernie. I might be coming in to watch a few of those races, and we've just had the server pop up while you've been doing that. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be racing very soon.
Okay, folks, so we're just going to go off to a quick ad break, and when you come back, we will be in that server. Welcome back, folks, to the ongoing broadcast of the RRTV Rallycross Super Series, Round 3, coming to you from Daytona Long. And the guys are out there, and girls are out there warming up for the next heat. And let's have a look at these results once more as they come up. So the drivers we're looking at tonight will be Bob King, Emily Jones, Dan Perlia, Luca Giacomin, Thomas Hins is in there as well, Darren McKenzie, Wayne Burke, Gavin Sadler. The two drivers promoted from the last chance qualifier and will back it up in this heat is Daniel Gow 3 and Lachlan Smith.
Yeah, fairly strong field here tonight, Bernie, and as we were mentioning before, Bob King did really well at Daytona last a few weeks ago now, and it'll be really interesting to see how he fares tonight. Obviously, he's gotten that first place in this semi-heat, so he's qualified first, but Emily Jones has been fast in Rallycross as well, so be really interesting to see who comes out on top tonight and whether there's a dark horse or two throughout the field that seems eager to take the win away and get some trophies to put in their cabinet.
Yeah, and we can see the guys now getting ready to start this race. If you want to watch Emily in action, bring up in your other screen twitch.tv/EMREE, and we'll see how she goes to... wrong one. That's a better one, and we'll see how they go tonight. But we better get onto this grid because they're going to be racing without us very shortly, aren't they? So looking at where they will start tonight, we have Bob King, Emily Jones and Dan Pelea. They'll start on the first row. Second row, Luca Giacomin, Thomas Hins and Darren McKenzie. Third row, Wayne Burke, Gavin Sadler, Daniel Gow and Lachlan Smith will bring up the back. Here we go.
Yep. And we're green now. The start was, again, fairly clean. They're nearly 4 wide through there, Bernie. That's a bit scary, but they've all made it through to their first turn here. A little bit of contact, 75 to 5, but it looks like everyone's made it through there fairly cleanly. Bob King has taken first place, so Emily Jones will just slot in behind for now as they come over the jump. Oh, side by side over the jump. That is some crazy stuff there, Bernie.
Yeah, and we've just had one turned around, two. There's 3 cars in the back there that are being caught up. Let's have a look at who they are. Dan Pelea was one of them. We've also lost... let's bring them up. Sorry, folks. So the guys that were involved in that, Lachlan Smith, Dan Pelea and Thomas Hins. But your top 5 are, we've got Bob King now using his joker. So does Luca. Emily is sitting in third. She holds on to a joker for now. Wayne Burke 4th. And right on the bubble is Daniel Gow in 5th. Those 5 will go through. But Gavin Sadler, he's not that far behind and he's doing his best to close down on Daniel Gow.
Yeah, he's pushing hard, and just for the folks at home watching, the drivers do get 2 joker laps in this race, so they will have used one, those Luca Giacomin and Bob King. However, they still have one up their sleeve for the rest of the race, so I thought I'd just clarify that for the viewers after only having 1 joker lap in the LCQ, Bernie.
Yeah, thanks for that. I was going to say they only have one this time, but you had my back there. We can see as they go through now, Wayne Burke, he has used his joker. It wasn't enough, though. It's jumped him up to 4th position and displaced Gow down to 5th and Sadler down to 6th position. But at the moment, the guys that have used their jokers, Bob King, Luca, have used 1. Emily's got 2 up her sleeve. She's looking strong at the moment. Wayne Burke has also used 1, and from what I understand, the others have not used theirs yet.
Yeah, so some interesting strategy unfolding here, and we're already about to come across the line for lap 4. So this race is going crazy quick, as Luca Giacomin has actually gone for a move up the inside of Bob King, and he's made it work. Giacomin has now taken the lead from King, Bernie.
Yeah, it was a good move, wasn't it, over the tarmac, as we're on the nose cam here with King. See if he can go for the undercut. He is. Is this going to pay off?
Yeah, well done there. Just got it right under there. They're going to go side by side. It's a bit scary coming down into here. You've got to do a bit of a flick with the handbrake. He's made it work. Giacomin's going to try go under. No, he slots back in. Some very good racing there. Nice and clean by the guys. And King did really well to set that back up on the dirt. Like we were saying, King is massively good on the dirt, but the tarmac is where he sort of falters a bit at times.
Yeah, well, we've had Burke all in trouble here. He's gone off big time. And
sorry, Bernie, Giacomin has actually just spun Bob King.
Okay, we'll have a look at that in a moment because we're having a look back here at Burke. Something went wrong with him here. He was coming down the straight, and I'm just trying to work out who that poor guy was behind him. I think it might have been Daniel Gow. Have a look at this as we come down the straight. He just doesn't turn. He goes off here, then he's locked it up through the tyre bundle and straight across into, I think that's Daniel Gow, and flips him into the fence big time.
Yeah, so unfortunately, maybe some damage he got a little bit earlier on the race playing havoc, and that's ended his race for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Bob King, you were saying, got turned around by Luca Giacomin. So your top 5 at the moment, we've got Luca leading, Emily Jones now in 2nd position, Gavin Sadler up to 3rd, 4th, Bob King, he's still in there with a chance to go into the final here. 5th is Darren McKenzie.
Yeah, so a bit of a shake-up of the field. Good to see that Bob King isn't out of the race and that he's still in that 4th position. So obviously he's got some speed tonight, and it was just a bit unfortunate, the incident that happened there. Obviously no malice from either driver. King just got a bit wide, and Giacomin tried to get it down the inside, but it just didn't go so well. But Giacomin's got quite a bit of pace as well at the moment. He's pulled out about a 1 second gap on Emily Jones, and is holding that at the moment. But as we know, Jones has got a bit of speed as well, so we'll see where she ends up. We're on lap 7 already, Bernie. This race is just flying by.
It certainly is. 4 laps remaining here. Sadler will be having a grin from ear to ear because he looked like he was going to be in trouble there. He's up to 3rd. I'd say he's used one of his jokers there, and it'll be left to see who has theirs left to play. But we can see Giacomin going through, Jones through, both not using their jokers. What about Sadler? No, he continues. King, I think he may have some up his sleeve. He doesn't use it. Then we've got Darren McKenzie, Thomas Hinds. These guys are battling for the last position to go in the final. Hinds is all over the back of McKenzie at the moment, and he's looking hungry.
Yeah, these boys know what they're fighting for, and they're fighting hard for it. As we saw coming into turn 1 there, they're basically no holds bar at the moment, and you can see Hinds, he's hungry to get down the inside, but he just wants to do it fairly. So we'll have to watch as they come back onto the tarmac to finish the lap. But Hinds is, there's nearly a magnet attaching those two at the moment, so there's nothing in it there, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly isn't now. I think the top 4 have all used their jokers because they're not using them now. Mackenzie's going the long way. Hinds rolls the joker, takes that position, moves up to 5th position. That's a good move.
Yeah, so that basically just did all the work for him, and that's the beauty of the joker lap, is if you keep it until a situation like this, it basically does all the work for you in that respect. But we've just seen Mackenzie had an absolutely brilliant run through that sort of hairpin there, and he's getting back up onto the back of Hinds, so this might not all be over, Bernie.
Yeah, and we're riding on board here with Jones. She's using a joker lap, but I tell you what, have a look at her. Oh, she's into Luca.
No.
Hold on to it. No, they're both around, and Emily is going to take that. But what has happened here to Luca? He's down to 3rd. He's just limping along, and Bob King's now coming through. Bob will be thinking, is this payback for him? He's coming through on the back of him, and this is for 4th position, so they don't have to do anything stupid. And then Darren McKenzie, he's fighting against Hinds. So McKenzie has used his joker in response. Now Hinds is right on the back of him. Who's going to take this? It's going to be close.
Oh, Hinds is going to throw it down the inside, I reckon, Bernie. Yeah. This is close at so many levels. Mackenzie's actually used his defensive manoeuvres there, so looks like he's going to take this unless Hinds drifted it out a little bit, and that's for Mackenzie. Oh, and as they whack each other into the wall there.
Yeah, and we had a bit of news there about Emily Jones did not set the wiper, and that's what I was trying to show you folks, but we jumped in the car just as that accident went, so I'd say we lucked out on that. But let's have a look at the final results, because I tell you what, it was all over the place, wasn't it? And let's have a look. So it's all over the shop here. Emily Jones takes the win. Gavin Sadler, I've got him classified in 2nd. Bob King 3rd. Darren McKenzie 4th. Thomas Hinds 5th. The guys that are missing out is Dan Palia, Luca Giacomin, Daniel Gow, Wayne Burke and Lachlan Smith. So I can only think that Luke has made that mistake where he thought the finish line was where they started, when in fact the finish line's here staggered and it's around the hairpin up the back of the course.
Yeah, well, I'm just having a look back at the replay on my screen, Bernie. He was actually still with Bob King at that point. So King's taken a joker lap there, which should have only demoted him to 4th place, I believe. So he may have had a penalty, an iracing penalty that's pushed him back down the order, possibly from not taking a joker or any other matter of penalties that iracing can give you. But unfortunate to see, because he had a bit of speed, but just got involved in a couple of incidents there that have pushed him down the order by the looks of it.
Yeah, and we've got it up on the replay now, and we'll have a look at this as they come through. He's very aggressive there under brakes. He's up on the inside of King, so he hasn't backed it off. So, yeah, I don't know what's gone on there. He shouldn't have been classified in 7th.
Yeah, something funky. The iRacing gods have obviously struck down, and unfortunately Luke has been the victim. So, yeah, unfortunate to see, but hopefully he'll be back next week, because he's got a good bit of speed underneath him, and we don't like to see drivers not coming back to the series, as it's always good to bring some awesome competition in and show us some good racing like they've done tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So Emily Jones won that, so she'll be promoted through to the final. Gavin Sadler 2nd, 3rd, Bob King 4th, Darren McKenzie and Thomas Hinds as the last one to go through to the final. So what we're going to be waiting for next, folks, is Heat 2, and as always we'll wait for that server to come up. But if we have a look at who we'll be seeing in that heat, semi-final Heat 2, we'll see Cam Taylor, Michael Healy, Daniel Ackland, Bo Albert, Cohen Attard, Brett Garidis, Marcus Konitska, I think it is, John Schultz, Warren Pickering and Richard Brookfield. Now, Warren and Richard, they were both 2nd and 4th in the last chance qualifier, so they will take up at the rear of the grid.
Yep, so we've got another stacked field here, Bernie. I think we're going to be in for another good race. So there's a couple of new names in there as well. John Schultz and Marcus Konitska we haven't seen in the last couple of rounds, so good to see some new people still coming into the championship and competing. As well as you've got Cam Taylor, Michael Healy, Daniel Ackland, Cohen Attard as well. I believe they've all been here before, and Cam Taylor's been fairly competitive. Michael Healy last week, we saw him battling with Jones, and those two had a great battle. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in this one. And we saw in that first semi-final heat, it all went weird with people getting spun around, coming back again, and then more spins. So I'm keen to see the second heat and see who ends up going into the final.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? And then, of course, the final, anything can happen. Like we saw last week, it looked really promising, a big race, but the big names dropped out pretty quickly, didn't they? And it was a bit of a non-event, really, but hopefully tonight it's going to be different, and it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I agree, Bernie. It's sort of all the good racing happened in lap 1 in the final last week, and the winner sort of just streamed away. So as we saw here, there is some really good racing going on between some of the drivers, not only in that top 1st, 2nd, 3rd, but also in the back of the pack as well. So they're all fighting hard for their positions. And it's the track, the nature of the track here at Daytona means that you've got some of those corners where you can almost do a bit of a slide job, I guess you could call it, up and under, and get that line out and around and try and get them into the hairpin. So there are a few sneaky and cheeky places you can try to make overtakes work here, and that's what's going to make the racing interesting coming into this second semi-final into the final tonight.
Yeah, and of course the top 5 of those will go through to fill the rest of the grid tonight, and we're just waiting for that server to come up, folks. If there's any drivers out there that wish to come up for an interview, well, come and jump into the waiting for interview room, and we'll definitely have a chat with you to pass the time. Otherwise, I think we might have to bring in some Rallycross karaoke.
Well, luckily the server's just come up, so we won't have to make the viewers' ears bleed with our singing. So we can just give them some more Rallycross action, Bernie.
Okay, so we're just going back to a quick break, folks, and when you come back, we should be in the other server. there folks, welcome back to the RRTV Rallycross Super Series, and you're watching the warm-up for Heat semi-final Heat 2. Now, while we're off air, Brock, there was a bit of news coming through from the Luca camp, Luca Giacomin, I think it is, camp. He only used one joker and he was penalised 10 seconds. So it's a bit of an interesting rule, lad. If you don't take full advantage of your jokers, it appears, you get penalised.
Yeah, I was giving that a read too, Bernie, and just thought, what a way to penalise you for not gaining an advantage. I've never heard of that one before, but I guess iRacing is trying to follow the rules of the real world series. I'm not too sure how it works myself, but maybe that's one in the real world series.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. Like, we'll have to see if it's compulsory to use both jokers, but considering it's an advantage, and if you don't play the advantage, I don't see why you'd be penalised. But anyway, we'll look into it through the week, folks, and try to clear it up. But let's have a look at this grid, because we're going to be racing very soon. So we've got Marcus Knitska, Brett Garitas and Bo Albert. They'll start from the front row. Second row, John Schultz, Richard Brookfield, Daniel Ackland. Third row, Michael Healy, Cohen Attard, Cam Taylor and Pickering brings up the rear.
And we've just gone green now, so we watch them as they flood down into turn one here. And it's all looking fairly clean for the time being. There've actually not too many people, no big bumps or anything like that. They've actually made it through there fairly cleanly, and good on them for doing so. So they all file through to take the jump now, and yeah, all fairly clean over the jump, nothing too crazy, and now they're single file, Bernie. Well done to all the drivers out there.
Yeah, you spoke a bit too soon. Marcus Konitska came unstuck in the hairpin there, and he's trailing through, but it wasn't anything major. But after the first lap, we have Cam Taylor leading Bo Albert. We've also got two cars off in the background. Healy, he's up to third already. Garitas fourth, and fifth is Schultz. Pickering's up to sixth, as we see Garitas, and that's Healy using his joker as well as Pickering.
Yeah, and I think Albert also snuck through on a joker lap there too, Bernie. So we've had three drivers just on that lap alone try to take advantage of that. And we have a look through the field here, and there are a few battle packs sort of developing, as we've got Brett Garitas has actually just gone off and given that was Marcus Knitska a bit of a tap as well. So yeah, it's already some exciting racing here tonight, Bernie, for this second semi-final heat.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, poor Marcus, he's having a run that he'd rather forget tonight. First lap incident and then getting a bit of a tap. He's up to ninth. He's got two jokers left, so we'll see what he can do. But at the moment, it's all Albert leading with Taylor second. Third is Healy, and fourth is Pickering. Fifth is John Schultz, the last in on the bubble at the moment to go through to the final. But keep an eye on Brookfield. He's closing quickly.
Yeah, so Brookfield, he's done well in the LCQ, and last week he had to do the same thing, fight through from the LCQ through the semi-finals and then make it through to the finals. So he knows how to do it, he's done it before, and he's just got to do it again this week. So he's obviously got his target inside up ahead of him, and he's just taking a joker lap now too, so that'll actually jump John Schultz, and will be interesting to see how the rest of the jokers are used through the night. But he's basically just cleared Schultz then and made his life a whole lot easier, Bernie.
Yeah, he definitely does, and that moves him up to fifth position. So we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, Albert's leading by 0.5 of a second. They've got quite a bit of a gap back to Healy, but that won't bother him because he just has to finish in the top five. Pickering has also dropped off about 5 seconds from the lead, and then Brookfield, as we just saw, is on the hunt, and we'll see. He's in the last lap was a 40.612. Of course, that was the joker, but that's where you gain 2 seconds a lap on using that joker.
Yeah, it's amazing how much that advantage can mean to a driver when you're right up behind someone and just need to get by them, and you can unleash some serious speed when you get some clear track ahead of you. So I'm assuming that's what he's going to want to be doing, and just trying to maintain that fifth spot so he can make it through to the final for the second week.
Yeah, and another thing these guys are going to have to get used to is using a handbrake, aren't they? That's probably a bit of a new thing to a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Bernie. I was in a GT car earlier this week, and I went to use the handbrake just to be a little bit stupid, and found out, yeah, GT cars don't have a handbrake. So, so yeah, it's a bit of a weird jump going from just about every other car on the surface has no handbrake, and then you jump into this, and you've got to start using it at those hairpins and that sort of thing, and really taking advantage of it. So it's an interesting challenge for the drivers to get used to all over again.
Yeah, it certainly is. And while we're talking about handbrakes there, Cam Taylor used his joker. We're riding on board with him, jumps him up to first position. Bo Albert in second. So it's really between these two. Healy's looking comfortable out there on his own, and he doesn't use his joker. What about Pickering? Is he going to use it to try to close this gap? It's down 8.2 seconds back to Pickering now, and Brookfield's right behind him. Schultz has dropped off about 1 second, and where's Konitska? Well, he's down there in ninth, not making much headway at all.
Yeah, so Brett Caritas is down in 10th now. I think it looks like he's had an accident because his car's fairly beat up. It's a Beetle that's run into something at some stage or another, so unfortunately he's dropped back a bit. But I hope Marcus Konitska comes back next week and gives it another shot. We say this every week, but the nature of Rallycross is unfortunately that there's lots of bumping and everything, and accidents happen. So hopefully he'll come back next week with a straight car and give it another red hot shot and see if he can make it through to the final. Yeah,
for sure. And you got your drums ready? You're going to need them for a minute because poor Brett's Beetle has run out of juice.
Oh no.
I've been saving that one all night. We might as well play it now.
Bernie.
Yes. Well, I missed out on the karaoke, so we might as well do that one. But at the moment, we're riding with Bo Albert here, and he's hunting down Cam Taylor as he closes in on the hairpin. Have a look at how hard these boys work as we'll jump into the helmet cam here. You can get a bit of a feel for what this track's like. I'll tell you what, these guys are very busy tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, you work up a sweat doing these 10 lappers, and you know they're not long races in time, but the amount of work you got to do on the steering wheel, keeping the car straight on the dirt. You'll see these guys, they're getting that opposite lock going a lot, just trying to keep the cars straight, and it takes a lot of skill to drive these things straight and drive them well. So kudos to everybody who's come out tonight, whether they're qualifying or driving in these finals and whatnot, but they've done well, as Bo Albert has actually just used his joker lap and jumped Cam Taylor again. So I'm not sure, but Cam... Oh no, this is the last lap as well, so Cam may have something left up his sleeve for the end of this lap, or it may be hard battle to the end, as Albert he's hit a tyre barrier as well, and he's hit another one. So he continues on though, and just stays ahead of Taylor as well, Bernie.
Yeah, Taylor actually lifted there and let him come back on the track. So, excuse me, quite a bit of sportsmanship going on there. That's allowed Healy now to close up. It'll be interesting to see if Albert or Healy have a joker to play, and it looks like who's that? Cam Taylor's had his second one to play, and Healy's also played his. Yeah,
as a few of the guys have just hit tyre barriers and given up at the end of the race there. Bo Albert's just done a bit of a flip. As the rest of the field comes across the finish line, looks like everybody else is fairly clean as they come into the graveyard of cards on their side and all destroyed after the race there. But in the end, yeah, Bo Albert sort of messed himself up with hitting those tyre barriers on the very last lap, Bernie.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at those results because it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? And let's have a look at what we've got here. Well, it's not a surprise, it's just my telemetry is the surprise. So Cam Taylor takes the win over, and Michael Healy comes second. Both of those using their second joker on the last lap. That puts Bo Albert down to third position. Warren Pickering, he comes home in fourth, and fifth is Richard Brookfield. So they're the five that will go through to the final tonight. We say goodnight to John Schultz, Cohen Attard, Marcus Konitska, Brett Garitas, or Garitz, I think it is, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Daniel Ackland. And another interesting race.
Yeah, the joker laps played a hand in it, as well as those tyre barriers as well, sort of wreaking havoc. But Yeah, we've basically got our field set now for the final, and Richard Brookfield, he snuck in there again, just by being consistent and being there at the end of the race. So good on him, and he's made it through to another final. And we've got Healy, Taylor, Albert, and Pickering will also be joining Brookfield in the final as well. So who knows what's going to happen? Rallycross throws a lot at us, Bernie, and we've just got to take it as it comes, commentate it, and hope we get it all right.
Yeah, exactly right. And I don't know about you, but I've done my joke. You've got one up your sleeve to use, and then we'll see from the viewers who's the better comedian.
Yeah, look, I think you've won that competition, Bernie.
You're not even going to try, are you? But folks, your comedy team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and Brock. Is it Caday? Is that how we pronounce it? Or Caday?
Yeah, it's Caday, yeah, got it. Yep. Smack bang on, Bernie.
There you go. That's how professional we are in RRTV. I don't even know who the co-commentator is, but I think I lucked it out just then.
Yeah, you did well. Not many people get it right on the first try, so well done.
Yeah, so we're just waiting now to see exactly when the next server comes up, and that's going to be for the final. But it's going to be quite interesting. So if we have a look at the results, we should. No, we won't bring up the results yet. No, we won't, because I'll just say it wrongly. But so yeah, I was hoping we'd have another graphic up, but we don't. But yeah, the top 5 of each heat goes through, and I tell you what, it's going to be a big field and a star-studded field. We've got Jones and Healy back in the finals, and if you remember last week, folks, semi-final, they put on a very good show. But tonight, there's a lot of other guys on the ball as well, and it's going to be very interesting to see who brings what to the table. So if we look at the results so far and have a look at some of these names in here, I'm not going to dare to pick a favourite, but we've got Taylor in there. Healy's going to join us in the final. Jones is going to be there. Hins is coming through. Luca, well, he got a 10-second penalty, so we won't see him in there. Dan Palia, I don't think he got through. What about Bo Albert?
Bo Albert did make it through, yep.
Yep. And Richard Brookfield and Warren Pickering. So both of the last chance qualifiers in Heat 2 both got promoted.
Indeed they did. So it just shows you how important that last chance qualifier can be to make it through. You know, don't throw it all away in that race, because you may well make it through to the final. You've just got to push hard and hopefully make it into that top 4 in that last chance qualifier.
Yeah, that's it. And we've seen that in a few heats, haven't we, where the last chance qualifier does not necessarily mean where these guys are going to be finished if they get promoted, because we've seen them on a number of occasions. They go the long way, but when it comes to the final, they come up with the goods. So that is something definitely to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we're in for a really, really good race, providing there's not too much carnage in that first lap at this race, Bernie. So I think the beauty of this one is that you sort of have a bit of a chance to organise yourself before you go into a tight right-hander, whereas at Phoenix, you fire into a fast right and then into a very tight hairpin right. So you don't have much time to organise yourselves, and it can all go very wrong. Whereas at Daytona here, that turn 1 coming out of the start line is very open. So even if there's a bit of carnage and a bit of bumping, you can still push out wide, come back in, get yourselves organised, and hopefully have a good race.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to jump over to something, because this is something really cool that this is going to make me laugh anyway. So let's have a look over on twitch.tv/Emery. We can see Emery there watching the RRTV telecast. So there you go. So we're watching Emily watching us. How cool's that?
Oh, this is a bit of a brain bender, if you ask me.
Yeah, so quite interesting, isn't it? But anyway, we'll stop those shenanigans. How's our server looking? Is it actually coming up yet?
Just refreshing again. Drum roll, please. Yes, it's just up. You've asked at the perfect time, Bernie.
Okay, folks, so we're going to go and have a quick break. When we come back, we'll be calling the final here. Hi there folks, welcome back to RRTV's live coverage of the RRTV Rallycross Super Series. We're coming back to you at Daytona Long for the final here. You can see Darren McKenzie in his Beetle out there warming up, as are the rest of the drivers.
Yeah, so the last race of the night here, it's flown by, Bernie, but it's going to be a good one. We've got some fast guys and girls in here, and I think we're going to be in for some pretty fun racing tonight, and some hopefully some close racing with not too many incidents, and we'll see all of our drivers make it to the end.
Yeah, and it looks like King's going stealth mode here because his car's coming out white. It was blue, but maybe he felt blue was getting him into too much trouble, and his pit crew's decided they'd rebadge while he was watching the last heat.
Yeah, do a quick respray of the car.
Yeah, that way people won't know who to target. I think that's what it is. Can see Pickering out there at the moment. Looking at the qualifying standings, Hins is the fastest provisionally with the 41.885, but then King has just pipped him with the 41.831. Healy's now come through 41.319. Of course, all those times mean absolutely nothing when it comes down to racing.
Yeah, so we see there's some pretty quick people in here. We've got 5 people in the 41s, and we still have 3 drivers that haven't actually set times. So it'll be interesting to see who has the consistency over what is a 12-lap final with 2 jokers tonight. So I'm keen, I'm excited, I'm ready to watch some racing, Bernie.
Yeah, so am I, and let's go through the grid very quickly. So we've got Gavin Sadler. We'll start from front row with Darren McKenzie, Warren Pickering. Hins in the second row, Brookfield out of 5th, 6th Healy, 7th Jones, 8th Taylor, 9th King, and Albert 10th. It doesn't sound right to me, but that is what my telemetry is telling me.
Yeah, I think it's all updating a little bit. Telemetry's been a bit funny on my end too, actually, Bernie, so we can thank iRacing for that.
Yeah, that's right. But folks, we're just waiting now for the final, and 2 jokers, they have to use both. We saw Luca get penalised for using only one, and it should be, what, a 12-lapper, I think. I could be wrong. We'll find out in a minute.
And they've just gone green now as they all leap away from that start line there. They're 3 wide coming down into turn 1 at the front there. Emily Jones has the inside line, and she's going to grab the lead out of there away from Taylor and King and Albert. So, there's a bit of contact there as one of the SSR cars has gone around into the pack and into the wall there, Bernie.
Yeah, that was Bob King. The paint job did not help him. He's around, and that's the end of his race, unfortunately, because once you get turned around, that is absolutely it. But we'll quickly jump back and have a look at how that transpired, because they were going through. Keep an eye on the White Beetle. He was sitting there in 4th position, and they're coming in 3 wide here, weren't they? And he just got turned around by... having a look there, it's the Alberto entry turned him around and straight into the wall. He was lucky, well, the rest of the field were lucky that they didn't clean him up.
Yeah, I thought for sure we weren't going to see half the field coming through after that, but it's a shame to see because a similar thing happened to King in the last race at Daytona. He got taken out early on in the race and didn't really get to show his true potential in the final, but the rest of the field has made it through. I think King's back in the pit lane now, so he is out of this race. But we've got Jones and Taylor at the front are fairly close, and Albert and Healy as well. So a bit of battling going on for 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th, Bernie.
Yeah, no, it's when they play these jokers that counts, and we can see there Jones, Taylor both don't play them, nor does Albert or Healy. Hinds just did play his by the looks of it, and no, Pickering played his to get past Hinds, so that's a 1 down for Pickering. They're both in the same car, so that's why it's difficult. Brookfield at the moment sitting down there in 7th with a lot of work to do, and Sadler, he's pretty much bringing up the rear, but the race is on for the front here, isn't it? We've got Taylor chasing down Jones, and of course Healy chasing down Albert.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Like you said, once those jokers come into play, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. Is that none of the top 4 again? They don't take their joker, so they just keep racing on. We are on lap 4 now as well as Emily Jones crosses that finish line. So they're all racing fairly cleanly. The gaps are quite close. Taylor, Jones, Albert and Healy, they're all fairly equidistant apart at the moment, so we'll see once these jokers come into play just how close and how much battling they have, Bernie.
Yeah, we're riding with Taylor at the moment as they come back onto the start straight. I won't say start-finish straight because it's not the case. We'll see if he plays his joker this time. And of course, they don't really want to be the first one to play it, do they? Because it's going to give potentially away an advantage. And the top 4 have not bothered to use it this time either, with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, some scare tactics going on here by the looks of it, Bernie. They're all trying to bluff each other into it. It may end up being that lap 11 and 12 are the 2 joker laps that these drivers take. So they're all just pushing on at the moment and trying to, I guess, maybe measure each other's speed. Healy's dropped off a little bit from Albert, but Cam Taylor is right on the back of Jones at the moment. So we may see Taylor in the next couple of laps try and use that joker to jump Jones and skip ahead. But yeah, no, 1st and 2nd still don't use their joker laps, and 3rd and 4th, the same thing. They've just gone straight through on a regular lap there, Bernie.
Yeah, Pickering's the only one up there that has used a joker, but what that tells me is none of them are confident that they can take the win if they start using those jokers up. So they're keeping everything they can up their sleeve with 7 laps here remaining. Yeah,
that's a very good point there, Bernie. Usually we see somebody will take their joker and they will just skip away with it, but like you said here, none of them, I guess, are confident in the pace that they have that they'll be able to skip away. And we see there are a bunch of fast people with Jones, Taylor, Albert and Healy occupying those top 4 spots, as Healy has taken one of his jokers and he's going to end up in 3rd place. So he's jumped Bo Albert there. be interesting to see if Healy can maintain that position or even pull ahead a little bit.
Yeah, and the Joker, as they throw some tyres onto the course, fortunately it stayed off the main line, but those tyres are absolutely deadly when they get thrown. But at the moment, it's Jones leading Taylor. Healy is sitting in third with Albert fourth. We'll see if Albert reacts and tries to use one back, but really they can only use them to jump a position. As we see now, Jones does not use it, nor does Taylor. Healy stays out. Albert did not react. He's happy to keep his other two, and Pickering has used his second joker now, and we're about the halfway mark. So Pickering's totally out of jokers now.
Yep, so he's used that, and that's gotten him, up quite close to Albert, but Albert's still got a couple of jokers up his sleeve, so I'd say that our top four, unless anything crazy happens, will probably be the battle of the night here. Healy is fairly close to Taylor, but Taylor's still right on the back of Jones and just biding his time, waiting to use those jokers, so it'll be interesting to see who blinks first here out of those two, Bernie.
Yeah, well, they're both just shadowing each other, aren't they? And Healy, he is still keeping his jokers. I'd say he's going to play one this lap if he gets close enough here to Taylor, and Taylor doesn't play it. I reckon Healy's going to be going to roll the dice here and jump a position.
Yeah, well, Taylor's dropped a little bit off the back of Jones there, and Healy is right up behind him. So it's Volkswagen versus Ford at the moment, and I think you're right. Healy may well play that joker to jump Taylor and possibly go for that win. He's got it in his sights, and next lap round we'll only have 3 laps left in this race, so those two jokers have to be used, or else, as we saw with Luca Giacomin earlier in the night, you will get that 10-second penalty.
Yeah, and all three don't play the joker once again, but Bo Albert is playing his joker. Where's he going to come out? Right behind Healy. See how close you have to be for that joker to pay off. He's pulled him in, but he has not made a position up.
Yeah, so Bo's still got one under there, and Healy may well be being held up by Taylor as Taylor just nicks a tyre barrier, so Healy's going to take advantage of that, and he's just driven straight past him and taken second place away from him. Didn't even need the joker, but Taylor's still right there, and we've got Albert still just behind them, so this is still anyone's game at this point, Bernie.
Yeah, and we saw the semi-final last week, folks. It was Healy and Jones. It was Jones putting the blowtorch on the back of Healy. Tonight it could be the other way around. As they come through here, it looks like Ken Taylor has used his joker and jumped both of them.
Yeah, so Jones is basically going to have to use both her jokers now and get rid of them. We're on lap 11, so she's got 2 laps obviously to use it, and she's going to have to go bang bang and basically use both of those. So she's been out front all night, and she's got those jokers to use as well. So we'll see where she comes out in the end there, but I'd say with those under her belt, she will probably leap back up to first.
Yeah, and Healy will use both of his as well, so there won't be an advantage there. As we see now, Emily uses her joker, Healy does not. Albert uses his final joker, and so at the moment we have Jones leading Taylor, and then we've got Albert leading Healy, and then Pickering comes up the 5th as they're just coming around now, lapping cars. At the moment it's looking very good here for Jones. She's got one joker she can play, and Taylor doesn't have any. I think Healy might have one to play as well.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Bernie. So Healy may be able to jump Albert and possibly jump Taylor, depending on the run he gets through that joker lap. But it looks like Jones has got this well and truly under control. She goes and takes her second joker lap. Looks like Taylor also had another one to use there, so he's just stuck on the back of Jones there, really. So no advantage. And Jones has actually made a mistake as she's nearly hit a tyre barrier there. And oh no! Oh, that's the end of the race. Sorry, my mistake there, Bernie. Oh, had a heart attack. I was like, what's she doing? But no, I was still in the moment of the race. I was thinking, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, we'll jump across and have a look at where are Emily there. No, we can't see her celebrating because I don't. It's all going crazy here because I don't have the stream running. Let's see. Gee, it was a very good racing, wasn't it? And,
yeah, right up until the very end there, Bernie. Though that top 4 were never separated by more than about 2 seconds the whole race.
Yeah, you can see here Just watching there, Emily in action there, just celebrating as they do their donuts. And who's following her? Is that Healy, is it?
I believe so, yeah. They're both doing some burnouts together.
Yeah, so both celebrating there and having some great fun. But let's have a look at the final results so you can see where your favourite driver went. So the win went to Emily Jones, followed by Cam Taylor very closely in second. Healy third, fourth was Bo Elbert, fifth Warren Pickering. Coming home in sixth was Thomas Hinds, Richard Brookfield seventh, Gavin Sadler eighth, Darren McKenzie ninth, and Bob King, it looks like he retired. So our retirements, it looks like he may have retired tonight.
Yeah, I think he had a couple more incidents after that spin on lap one, and then he's just retired on lap one after that, unfortunately. So just not a lot of luck for Bob King, but as we've seen, he's got the pace, and it's just a bit of bad luck that sort of brought him unstuck. So, but congratulations to our podium being Emily Jones, Cam Taylor, and Michael Healy. Some great racing, and Bo Albert was also there and keeping all of them honest as well. So that was a really great final. Kept us on our toes that whole race there, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly did, and it was interesting, wasn't it, to see how they played those jokers. None of them were confident at the start, but I tell you what, the way it transpired there, Emily leading, holding on to both, and then playing them in the last two laps, that was pretty much telling them that they've run out of options, really.
Yeah, well, Jones, she obviously had the speed throughout the race to keep the guys behind her honest and make sure that, even using their jokers, Cam Taylor only just jumped her. So, she had that speed and it took those jokers right to the very end, and then just sort of bang, bang, took the jokers out of there. She took the race win. So this is a bit of retribution for last week, where unfortunately her race came unstuck due to a couple of incidents that weren't her fault. And now she's taken the win tonight and shown her true pace, basically, and what she can do in a rallycross car.
Yeah, definitely right. And I think Cam was hoping to play that joker earlier in the night, and hoping Emily would play the joker earlier in the night and would go from there. But it looks like we might have Emily in, waiting to come in for an interview. So we'll bring Emily up and have a bit of a chat. Hi Emily, welcome to the RRTV Combox. Congratulations. First position there. We were talking earlier in the race about the jokers, and it looked like you kept them to the very last moment.
Yeah, once I got out ahead, I was just like, might as well hold on to them for as long as possible. I don't feel like I had the pace advantage over Healy and Cam. I think they both were faster. But I knew it was really difficult to pass, and I was really consistent into the hairpin, so I gave them no looks, and I knew if I just held my jokers to the last lap, there was nothing they could do.
Yeah, that's what we thought. We were watching all top five drivers there not using their jokers, and the way I sort of saw it at the time was that no one was really confident that they could use them and get away, and they didn't want to throw away that advantage. But I tell you what, leaving them to the last there, you're pretty much telling them, as I said to Brock here, that you're telling them they were out of options after that, because you could play them and there was nothing they could do, really.
Yeah, it was like I kind of made all the responsibility on them, that they had to pass me on track because I had all the jokers in my own hands. I think it's easier to chase than to be chased. So as soon as you joker and you've got that gap, the other person's just like, I know if I jump half a second, the next time I joker, I'll jump them. So it's really easy to throw away a lead if you joker too early. It was a really difficult decision on lap one, because I was about to joker on lap one. But I looked at my deltas, and the next car was like Bo, I think, in third at the time. And he was at about 2 seconds behind. He was dropping behind. And I made the split-second decision to not joker, and that paid off, I guess.
Yeah, no, it paid off big time, but you're under a heck of a lot of pressure there from a number of guys. Cam was definitely keeping you honest throughout most of that race, and could see Healy also in with a shot as well. But I guess, after last week, missing out on the final, this was a bit of retribution, and I wouldn't say payback, but because it wasn't payback, it was just good driving.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I mean, it was... Yeah, last week was a little bit all over the place, but yeah, I'm much happier with my driving this week, I feel. I mean, Luca and I got a little bit intimate in like our semi-final, but that was a racing incident, I felt, so I felt it was okay. Well, some of my driving at turn 1 last week, I feel like I could have done better. So it was nice to get out there and drive really cleanly. And yeah, of course, Healy was really good. He spotted in my semi, and he's a really good teammate. Really lucky to have him in TTR.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Brock Cadet. And Brock, have you got any more questions for Emily?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Emily. It was sort of a shame to see last week that you had that incident in the final, because you were really fast throughout the semi-finals, but this week you've come back and you've turned it all around and taken the race win, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. It was, yeah, it's strange because I think I felt I was much faster at Phoenix than I am at Daytona. So it's a weird feeling getting the win here and not at Phoenix, but I'll take it.
And you said obviously you saw Cam Taylor and Michael Healy coming from behind. How did you sort of, I guess, manage the nerves of trying to fight those guys off for a 12-lap race where you said obviously you nearly took your first Joker lap on lap 1, but you just kept them in? How did you fight off the nerves to stay calm and keep those Joker laps right to the end?
I'm actually not sure. I feel like it's just practice. I'm quite proud of myself that I held my car in. I didn't make any mistakes really. I let them get fairly close with about a lap to go because there was a bad tire bundle got knocked into my line on the run to the jump. I don't think anyone else got that. I think it was only for me. So that was the closest I got to losing it. But I don't know. I think it's just practice. I used to not be happy with my consistency, but over the off season, just been doing a lot of Rallycross and being put under pressure. And yeah, my consistency under pressure has really improved.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, as they say, practice makes perfect. And we've seen not only in tonight's Rallycross series, but in other Rallycross races, you've really found your shining, basically, what you're absolutely awesome in. And yeah, we're seeing it tonight. Can I ask, will you be back next week to fight again?
Okay, so I would love to be. It depends, we'll have to see. So I'm in this Dungeons and Dragons podcast thing, so I have to manage that, and it's super lame. But yeah, we'll see. I would love to be back, and hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday. It's really well run. I love these races, and you guys in the commentary box are awesome, so I'd love to be back.
I reckon you should play Dungeons and Dragons while you're racing.
It's a challenge. Bring it on.
and stream it, and we'll cross to you in your wizard outfit or whatever character you are, and that can be better than our karaoke singing.
Sounds amazing. Deal.
Bernie.
Oh, well, have you got any sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go, Emily?
Big thanks to Apex Replicas. They're awesome. My main sponsor, HRS, Hybrid Racing Solutions, and everyone else at TTR, Momo, Fuel Auto Tech. Yeah, they're super great, and it's a really good team. And thanks again to Healy, who's kind of the man when it comes to Rallycross. So I'm very lucky to have him on my team.
Yeah, I reckon the challenge is going to go out. I reckon he's going to be chasing you down next time you're out there, whether you're a wizard or not. It's going to be good racing.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll have to see.
All right, no worries. I'm only assuming you're a wizard because that's the only typecast I know. But anyway,
I'm a sorceress. Good guess.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, I'll let you go, Emily, and thanks for popping in. Congratulations on a great race and win tonight, and you can go and celebrate now with the rest of your team.
Thanks so much.
So our final interview tonight is with Thomas Hins. Now, Thomas, where did he come in? he finished way down there in 6th position. So it'll be interesting to get a bit of a debrief with Thomas to find out exactly how his race went.
Yes, yeah.
Did you want to start or should I start?
I'm happy to start.
Okay. There you go.
How you doing, Thomas?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Down in 6th place in the end for that race there. What did you think of the final, mate?
Well, I made it, so I was pretty happy. Just making it was enough for me. I mean, the people in that final, pretty much everyone in that final is pretty damn solid in the Rallycross, and I sort of haven't really been touching it recently, so I mean, I was just happy to make it, to be honest. Yeah, qualified P9 somehow, which shocked me because yeah, I haven't really had too much driving these things. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. I was up near Bow and everything, and I was like, gee, I know they're really quick in these, so what's going on there? But yeah, then the semi was a bit interesting. Got caught in some first lap shenanigans, but thanks to Luca missing a joker, it handed me the chance into the final. So that was kind of lucky in the end. And yeah, in the final, yeah, just kept it clean off the start. Obviously, Bob had the incident. I think Darren had a little issue over the jump on the second lap. And yeah, made up a few spots and just sort of sat in 6th, and yeah, didn't seem to have the pace to quite catch Warren, which is a little bit of a shame. I was kind of hoping I could maybe at least battle him. I knew the rest of them were too quick for me, but yeah, no, it was good fun. Good fun to have a clean run in that final. But no, big congrats to obviously Emily and Cam and Michael up at the front there. They were having an awesome battle all race long, and kudos to them. They're just too quick for the likes of me. So yeah, but no, it was good fun. Enjoyed it. Made it further than I thought I would. So I mean, successful night in my mind.
Yeah, that's good to hear, mate. I'm glad you've seen it as a successful night. Obviously, a lot of drivers, they might look at 6th place and go, but it's really good that you're happy with your performance and that you've come through. And will you be back next week with us to try again and see if you can repeat this performance?
At this stage, yeah, I'll probably come along again and have another crack. So yeah, I'd say so. But we'll see if anything pops up. But if not, yeah, I'd be keen to have another go and see how I go. Obviously, Daytona being sort of the default or the first track that everyone did laps on is the one I've done the most laps on. I've done some laps around the others, but not too many. But yeah, we'll see. I'll at least have a go, and I'm not really expecting anything with these nights in terms of results. I'm just turning up and having a bit of fun. So if I make to the end of the night, awesome. If I don't, well, I'm not really too fussed either way. It's just fun to have some fun in Rallycross because it's such a unique form of racing. But no, good to get through the final for the team as well. Give obviously Wax it some repping and everything. So yeah, and the car looks awesome as well. Credit to obviously JP on that. He's doing some phenomenal work on the skins for us. He's really come along well. He always has been a great painter, but he just keeps getting better. So yeah, no, it was awesome fun, very enjoyable, and I'm sure it came from the broadcast of the battle at the front, looking at the relatives there.
Yeah, that's good to hear, mate. And Bernie, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. One thing I thought, though, Thomas, is I thought you'd bring more speed to the table in the final, but unfortunately the pace was crazy out there tonight. But your car looks nice and shiny, but who's been polishing it in between the races?
Well, after Corey managed to not make it through the semis, I just said, well, you've got to be useful somewhere, so you're polishing the car between races. Sorry, Corey. So yeah, no, yeah, it was. I have to say, it was a good point. The pace was ridiculous in that final. I mean, they were. Yeah, that was about what they were about 2/10 slower by the looks of it on their fastest in the race than I was in my quali time. They were just absurd pace, and I was trying to push a bit and to keep it clean as well. But yeah, I just didn't have anything on them. But as I said, I'm not. I mean, compared to especially the top four, I haven't done anywhere near as much time in Rallycross of late. So as I said, just to sort of keep there or thereabouts and make to the final in what is a really talented field. I mean, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, definitely. And I tell you what, we were saying during the broadcast, a lot of the top 5, 6, they were not keen to use those jokers very early at all, and that really shows how hard it was out there tonight. So it was a great quality field, a great way to finish a great night, and yeah, congratulations getting through. You came home in 6th position, I think it was. Is that correct?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well done,
Thank
Thomas. Before we let you go, though, give a shout out to all the people out there as we can see the sun starting to wax. Get it?
Very nice transition. I like it.
There you go.
Wax at Kaka, of course, main sponsor. Big thanks to them for continuing to support us into 2018. Always super appreciated by everyone in the team. And JP's working on sort of our liveries for this year, and they're looking very, very nice indeed. So I'm sure we'll rep them very, very well. Obviously, Carney, GTI, Race Centre as well are the main sponsors we've had for quite some time. Always big thanks to them for their support. Always has been, always will be. And as I always say, big thanks to the team. They're just an awesome bunch of guys to race with. And shame that Corey wasn't able to make to the set or go further into the night. His pace was pretty solid. Just a few little moments in his in the last chance qualifier, but I'm sure he'll be back strong if he races next time. He'll put in a really good fight. But big thanks to them, and thanks to you guys for the broadcast, and also of course the guys here at IRFF events for running this thing, because run very professionally, very slick, and just standard affairs we saw tonight. Awesome racing, and it shows in the organisation of the event. So big thanks to them for putting this together and giving us a chance to race some Rallycross every Tuesday night.
No worries, fantastic. All right, Thomas, better let you go, mate, and we better wrap this up because it's 10 p.m, which means I've got to have my cocoa and go to bed.
Fair enough. Thank you.
See you, mate.
See you later, mate.
So, Brock, quite a eventful night tonight. We saw Heat 1, one of the drivers a bit asleep there and missing out because they didn't know where the finish line was. Heat 2, we saw Luca not use one of his jokers there and get penalised by 10 seconds and not get a position in the final. Then, of course, we saw that crazy final, which was awesome racing to cap off the night.
Yeah, I think tonight really sort of turned around from last week's sort of lackluster racing at times, and we really saw some great battling from some great drivers. And even though there was a bit of pushing around and that sort of thing, that's Rallycross. So we got to really see some great racing tonight. And as you said, as the series goes on, more people will the more people will hopefully come in, and the better they'll get at racing because they'll all know each other well, and all the driving styles. So it was really, really exciting tonight, and I'm keen to come back next week and do it all again.
Yeah, because we're halfway through the Rallycross Super Series, 6 rounds here, and it'll wrap up very early February, but it's a great series, that's for sure. And it's great to have this over the summer break to bring to the viewers. But until next week, folks, we hope you have a great work week and weekend, which is not far away. And, of course, we'll be back here next Tuesday night to call round 4 of the RRTV Rallycross Super Series. But before we go, Brock, is there anything else you want to say, or should you just say good night from him and good night from me, or what?
Just thanks to all the viewers for coming out and watching as per usual. We love that you guys come out and watch and give us the support. And, look forward to seeing you on all the other streams that RRTV have coming up. As Bernie said, there's a lot planned coming up this year, and I for one, am really keen to see how those races turn out and what else is coming for RRTV. So thanks to all you guys out there, and thanks to you, Bernie, for giving me the opportunity to come in the comm box.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure having you up here, mate, and calling all the action with me on the Rallycross, that's for sure. And there will be another announcement coming up on RRTV shortly. We're just finalising some agreements, folks, and then once that comes through, we'll let you know another exciting thing coming towards you for 2018. But anyway, Brock, thanks, mate. Have a great night. Enjoy work tomorrow. Unfortunately, I've got to go to the dentist, so I'll take the day off because I hate dentists.
Yeah, no, I'm in your boat, Bernie. I work today, so luckily I've got a day off tomorrow, but I've got plenty of running around to do. So just going to have to suck it up and then hopefully come home and watch some motorsport on TV to end out the day.
Yeah, fantastic. Anyway, folks, have a great work week. Hope to have your company again next Tuesday night. And thanks for joining us here tonight. On behalf of Brock Cadday, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for watching and good night.